Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be looking at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and this game, in my opinion, is, I've said this before, a very huge game. There's too much game in this one game. Now, I know many of you have told me to play Origins and stuff, and I've said, okay, hopefully I can get around to playing some Origins. But for now, Odyssey provides something that I want to talk about. And, games like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey are just big, huge open world games. I think Ubisoft was looking to outclass The Witcher, and they used an Assassin's Creed vehicle to make a game like that. For many people, this Assassin's Creed game that we have right now in Origins are basically, in their opinion, not necessarily Assassin's Creed games, if you understand what I mean. So in their minds, it's just basically another game that was kind of driven through the Assassin's Creed, vehicle and all that. And I can understand, but I think the new and fresh wave of this is actually quite interesting. Now, I don't know if this is a theme or a trend from old Assassin's Creed games, but the side missions in Assassin's Creed Odyssey have actually helped me to be able to progress through them, because sometimes I really just want to go to the main missions and go to the meat of what's going on, but I don't have sufficient XP, or I don't have enough, player power, and I find myself having to, go do activities, discover places in order to get my XP. But there is something that actually does help this game drive progression, and that is the way the developers have used humor in the writing to drive this interest and reduce the boredom that can actually ensue from these kinds of quests. And I will call them what they are. They're fetch quests in some cases, and in some cases they're just really interesting takes to small, subplots within the game. But the humor not only dwells in the major aspect of the game, but also in these side missions. Some of the side missions in Assassin's Creed Odyssey are just bordering on ridiculous as to how funny they are. In fact, sometimes you see a mission that is supposedly a side portion of a major mission turn really funny at some scene. So let me give you an example. You, as the main protagonist, you get this errand from a character in the game. You have to complete a series of errands, long, huge list of errands. And then one of them is just taking this dude to the Olympics. Well, this dude apparently is like a big baby and is super drunk all the time. So you basically carry and drag his drunk self like 5,000, game miles across all of Greece. And when he gets to the port, he's so drunk, he accidentally falls into the ocean and gets eaten by a shark. Whoa, where did that come from? And guess what? You now have to fill in for this idiot that basically could not keep his liquor down, and now you're supposedly going to have to go do this. And it's so casually done when he falls into the ocean that you're shocked and at the same time tickled. It's such a good way to actually write, in my opinion, things like this. And you're going to see a lot of these ridiculous things actually show up. In fact, in the comment section, if you can, and if you can remember, write down which, I don't know if it will spoil it for anybody, but write down which, side mission or side quest really stood out to you regarding how funny it was. There was another one that I went to, help this guy do something. I'm not going to spoil too much for you guys. And really interestingly was the agreement, around everything that I had to do. It was this propped up, huge event, and I ended up just bribing my way through it to show that it was actually just a joke of an event. And then at the end of the day, the guy tried to not pay me my full, earnings, and you as your character, you pretend like you're going to jump him and grab him, and he freaks out and is like, oh, I'm going to give you all the money. And it's such a playful game that these side quests actually allow for you as a player to, once in a while, smile or laugh if the humor is actually, connecting with you. And sometimes it doesn't land. Sometimes you're like, what is this? This is awkward. But there is that good mixture. And I feel like this is what really drives player progression more than anything. Especially in today where there's so many games that people can pick up and play. It's crazy how many games are out there that you can pick up at any time and play. And sometimes, we face this boredom where all the games in our library just don't interest us. And if you pick up a game like this where you're walking through and you're trying to get yourself to a place where, you've beaten the game, or you're trying to get through the end game content, then you need something to at least help you, because it's all about you just basically self-motivating yourself and grinding through this mountain of a game. And I think I mentioned this in my last video about how this game is actually so big. And it's a good thing that you have a lot of game to play, but it's also kind of a bad thing that it's super grindy in order for you to be able to play it. In some instances, nonetheless, it's not too bad, but when you start to get deep and dig in, and then it starts to kind of wear on you, and it takes its toll some days. But that nice addition in the writing of the game makes it really good regarding side quests. Now, regarding main quests, it's also pretty interesting that these little humorous plot points are, kind of also motivational factors to allow for you to drive through the main progression of the game. So think about, perhaps you maybe encounter somebody like, and the person, you have to kind of maybe go through this, little arch to come back and, encounter the person on a different level. There's usually a fun subplot that, works its way within this major overarching progression that kind of keeps you in a place where you're like, I want to actually see this through, and I want to see what happens. And I think this is just one tool that the developers and the writers basically used in order to keep this game very interesting. I haven't played a lot of games that, span more than the 30-hour mark when it comes to a single player game. In fact, I don't think I've ever played any game that, spans more than a 30-hour mark in a single player game. But in this game, I can appreciate how the writers have actually taken the time to detail different aspects of the game that allows for you to come into the world and, in a case, feel like these game characters, these NPCs, have a lot more humanly nature to them. The way the characters are written are so grounded that I feel like a whole nother video is just going to be dedicated to each specific, minor or side character that accompanies you through this entire journey. But basically, I made this video just to, recommend this game for anybody who might be looking for something to play right now. And that's basically how I'm going to tie the end of, these videos, to just tell them that this is a game that they might be willing to give a try, because at the price point right now, and, if people maybe may have some, time on their hands and they really want to enjoy something that is not as, grindy as The Division, which is a game that I do cover, then Assassin's Creed Odyssey might provide an alternative regarding player progression, regarding, some things that are not in a game like ours, where, your agent doesn't talk, but you can go into a game like Assassin's Creed where your main character does talk. Your main character has some humor that he shares, and humors that he receives from other characters as well. So that's basically the end of my video. Thank you so much for your time and audience. Like I said, in the comment section, let me hear a side quest that you thought was quite weird or funny in your gameplay experience of Assassin's Creed Odyssey if you've played it. All right, that's it for me. Peace.